Hello. Right. Video game. Go. Where the hell did my drink go? Oh, there it is. My throat isn't too happy this evening, but we'll see how it goes. I might do a bit of a shorter one, and I did say that last time, but so take that with a grain of salt. But right. Game volume a little bit up on the stream. Not too much. Phew, we made it back just in one piece, just. To be perfectly honest, I thought we were finished there for a while. Oh, I can't view the accolades from the screen. Oh, I know. What a lot of close shaves. There are so many carriages on the streets of London. You were very nearly flattened several times. There's two things I need to do, right? I need to erroneously answer Sholmes' question, and investigate Olive Green's bottle before it falls. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. Yes, I know. It was a marvelous defense, Naruto-san. It really was. I was in awe of you. Oh, thank you. And now that your fervent exploits have won us some more precious investigation time, let's see if we can't find some new clues for court tomorrow. Isn't that a modern phrase that we can't find? I don't know. Yes, let's do that. Is everything alright? I suppose I still can't quite believe it, that's all. The time here in England, working as a lawyer, I mean. In the old Bailey, no less. The truth is, it shouldn't be me, should it? It should be him standing in my shoes. It should be Kazuma. It was Kazuma-sama's wish that you follow him into Great Britain and work alongside him. Yes, I mean, I never had the chance to ask him exactly why, but he clearly had a plan. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. And you're doing wonderfully, Naruto-san. I've no doubt that Kazuma-sama would say exactly the same if he were here with us. Thank you, Susato-san. Thank you. You've been wearing that ever since we arrived in Great Britain, haven't you? Well, it's what shows that I'm a lawyer, so it seems appropriate. I'm not sure that it really means much in this country, though, I'm afraid. I wouldn't say that. It might not be official, but it looks official. Often when the police stop me, I just show them this and they leave me alone. You're stopped by the police? Often? Well, you know, I'm a suspicious foreigner, dressed all in black with a sword at my side. I do think it's probably the sword that's the main reason. Still, it makes me happy to see you wearing it, and the armband. Yes, I've made up my mind that I'll carry them always. This symbol of who I am, the sword of Karuma. Susanto-san, what do you make of this? Oh dear, what indeed? Let me see. If you don't know, really, it's fine to say so. I won't hold it against you. Susanto-san, what do you make of this? Ah yes, the soap that we found on the ledge outside Mr. Shamsbur's locked up window. Since we discovered him poisoned, I've been scared to wash my hands. I keep thinking the foul soap is going to the end of me. Well, the soap's bad name was cleared in the end, wasn't it? I suppose so. But I'm still worried about it. I think it would be safer to just never wash my hands again. I think you haven't thought that through. You will wash your hands, Naruto-san, you will. This piece of evidence wasn't used at all last time. Okay, this proves that there's some, like, communication going on, right? And as for... who killed him, and what's the deal with this case? There's another few things that we haven't used yet, right? Like in here... we haven't dealt with the time issue. Really. We haven't... oh yeah, we haven't dealt with the fact that it's the broken watch. I feel like next trial we're gonna have to say like, the broken watch isn't exactly reliable, you know. And we spoke about this a little bit. We didn't use the map at all. Or the books, really. I mean, we sort of did, but... oh. Unless you put coins in this meter, of course, it won't give you any gas. The British have some really chilling inventions, don't they? Sorry? Well, you could die on a cold winter's night if you weren't able to light your stove. I suppose, in a way, one little coin could be the difference between life and death. Personally, I'd break the meter and find a way to light the stove somehow. Oh no! The meter might explode if you were to tamper with it, Naruto-san. Gas companies have it all buttoned up, don't they? I noted them in order. It was quite a shock earlier today, wasn't it? When the victim himself turned up in court and took the stand. I'm thinking that during and before's husband, the head of Altamont Gas, is gonna have to show up at some point, right? Maybe he's the killer. I have no idea why. Maybe he didn't want this. Such a stupid motive, though, not wanting the gas thingy secret to get out. Well, I guess it is worth, like, many pounds. Since she did say, like, oh, it was a huge investment to develop the gas meter. So you can sort of see that as a motive, but I'm not convinced yet. And where does the, like, government cover-up come in? Why does Sholmes want to keep quiet? I know. Not only that, but then finding out that he is actually a barefaced gas thief as well. Now that I think about it, there is also one other thing that we haven't solved yet, and that's why did the victim say that he was poisoned by Natsume? I had a slight inkling, like this morning, I was just thinking about it. I thought, did he ever actually say explicitly in court that he was poisoned by Mr. Natsume? I think he did, but like, he talks in such weird ways that you can imagine that it would be possible to write his lines in a way that it sounds like he's saying it, but he's not. I can't tell if like the police just want to get Natsume arrested because otherwise it's a humiliation that they got it wrong last time. It's very hard to say. Not only that, but then finding out he was actually a barefaced gas thief as well. Yes, that was certainly a surprise to us all. For a while, it seemed as though everyone had quite forgotten about Soseki-san poisoning the tea. Careful of your phrasing, Susato-san. He didn't poison anything. And there's more to this Mr. Shamspear than we yet know, I'm sure of it. Maybe he's a spy? Mr. Shamspear certainly wasn't the noble, upstanding man everyone thought he was at first. What's become of him, actually? I was told that he'd be returning to the hospital ward where he's receiving treatment. Oh, which one is that? In the bed next to Olive Green, of course. Let me see. Ah, yes, he's at St. Bartholomew's. Oh, Bart's, or Bart's as Londoners call it. We know that place, don't we? Yes, we visited Miss Green there yesterday. It's the same hospital to which she was taken. Yes, after Soseki-san stabs her in the back. Do be careful of your phrasing, Naruhodo-san. He didn't stab anyone. Perhaps we both owe Soseki-san an apology. St. Bartholomew's. Yes, we should probably visit the hospital later. So, we know that Soseki-san took tea to the victim on the night in question. But as he isn't the culprit, then obviously, we're also yet to solve who's the person who comes into Soseki-san's room. Yes, the poison surely wasn't in the tea. But if that's the case, how on earth did the poison get into Mr. Shamspear's body? I'm sure we'll find a clue at the scene. We also didn't use the rim on the cup on last trial. There must be something in Mr. Shamspear's room that will help solve the mystery. Well, naturally, Scotland Yard detectives have been over the place already. But it couldn't hurt first to have another look around, I think. Definitely. And I'm desperate to know the outcome of the investigation into the tea that was left in the bar of soap. Need to blow my nose. Well, if we run into Inspector Gregson, we could ask him about that. Kazuma Asogi, the best friend I ever had, and a lawyer with such promise. He really saved my bacon in that horrible incident just before we left Japan. I can still picture him now, looking so fierce and determined in court. And then, after the trial, that crazy idea he came up with. As a stowaway? Yes, you can fit inside my trunk if you curl up small enough, I'm sure. No one will know. Kazuma, won't you tell me why? Why go to these lengths so that I can accompany you to Great Britain? Well, it's been on my mind ever since we got through that trial. That you really ought to go into law, be a defense lawyer. You've got a natural talent for it, believe me, I guarantee it. But I've never even thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, I can't force you, obviously. You'll have to decide for yourself. But anyway, London is the cultural capital of the world, the city at the forefront of everything. It can't hurt for you to see it with your own eyes. No, that's true. I suppose, though, if you were to become a lawyer, then one day... One day what? Oh no, never mind. Naruhodo-san? Oh, sorry, I was just thinking about Kazuma. Yes, he's forever in my thoughts, too. To change the Japanese judicial system for the better. That was his dream. And that's why he so desperately wanted to come to Great Britain to study, of course. Yes, that's right, but... Yes? I do wonder if his true intentions lay elsewhere sometimes. I don't know. The thought just takes hold of me every now and then, that's all. It was pretty obvious that he had another motive. Probably to do with the whole thing that the government department that Professor Mikotoba works for, and stuff like that. Naruhodo-san, what do you mean by Kazuma-sama's true intentions? I mean this. His katana. I never expected to inherit this sword after Kazuma passed away, of course. No, I know. It was because I asked you to take it. When I have it at my side in court, I feel as though it gives me courage. Yes. Actually, the night before he died, he told me a little about the sword. Is this new? Karuma. That's right, it's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryunosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me, I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two. Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. Something you have to do. Yes. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. What did he mean by something very important that I have to do? I had hoped that the answer to that question would become apparent when we arrived here, but as yet I've not found a single clue. I think Maelstrom Strongheart knows, and like when we arrived, he realized he knew that we didn't know the whole story or something like this, and that's why he played along. But he'll come to regret it, probably. As yet, I've not found a single clue. I see. Bam, 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 bam.
Oh, Rono and Susie! Hurrah, you're back!
I just realised that... What is on the right whiteboard? V is the sum of e to the something... Oh, p to the k v sub k. We have a bunch of components of ek being summed over k with some p to the k in front. Is this a power series? Was it? No, it's one of those things. Brain. There's a word for these series. I'm gonna study it this year, I think. I think they come up in year 2. They're the same sorts of series as I can't fucking think. Dude, I'm so out of practice with knowing maths, like, trivia off the top of my head. Maybe the graph probably has a relationship with it. I don't know, I can't be asked to think about it. Oh, I missed dialogue.
Oh, Rono and Susie, hooray! You're back! Hello, Aris. You're in fine spirits, as always, I see. I am. And you look as immaculately presented as ever, Susie. Oh, you flatter me. Well, you couldn't have come at a better time. I've just made a pot of tea. I'll set some cups.
Really? Oh, really? Thanks, Iris. But actually, what is that foul smell?
Aha! The Wanderers return at last! Where on earth have you been? Aha! The Wanderers return at last! Where on earth have the pair of you been?
We've been in court.
Oh, for Mr. Moustache's case. That was today, was it?
I'm sure I mentioned it only yesterday, Mr. Sholmes.
Yeah, he was busy doing something while the trial was going on.
I'm sure you think you did. Well, we can laugh about it now. So tell me, how did the trial go?
Reasonably well so far. We've managed to escape without a guilty verdict, at least.
Really? I would have liked to see it. And I must pass the time of day with Mr. Reaper again. It's been too long.
Is Lord Van Zykes an acquaintance, Mr. Sholmes?
Naturally. There's not a person in the world who doesn't know my name, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo.
I thought Barak Van Zykes wasn't too impressed with you, sir. Not quite what I asked, but still.
Mr. Sholmes, whatever is that odor?
Yes, what is it? It's faint, but absolutely awful.
Ah, indeed, that is the scent of victory, my dear fellows. Victory in science.
Oh dear.
All right, I'll bite. What's he up to now? Dun, da, 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 da. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, about this.
Shh! Not another word. Ah, yes, I see. This would be a collar.
Oh, I've already read this. What? Brain? I clicked the books? I clicked the books? Mr. Sholmes, about this.
Dull.
Sorry?
If you will produce such dull items with such a dull countenance, you must expect a dull response. At the very least, you could do something about your face, my dear fellow. I crave visual stimulation.
Something like this?
Ah, indeed, that is quite the stimulation I desired.
Wait, new dot open? Yes. The soap is looking at me with one hollow, 2-centimeter wide eye.
How poetic, Mr. Naruhodo. All the literary references we've been hearing are starting to rub off, I think.
Really? Whoever would have thought of using this depression to make coins of ice?
It was clearly one of those ice coins that was in the soap when we first found it, wasn't it? Although it was a sort of reddish color, I seem to remember.
Oh, wait. I believe you tried to eat some soap once, didn't you?
True, yes. I had a theory that it may cleanse the inside of my digestive system, you see.
Was it particularly dirty, do you think?
Indeed it was. For I had mistakenly imbibed some ink at the time, assuming it to be coffee. I must cleanse it at once, I thought to myself. Quite logically, of course.
Only you could have an anecdote about swallowing soap.
Ah, yes, the crockery of the failed thespian and the mustachioed bookworm.
His name is Mr. Soseki Natsume. You really should try to remember it.
You're right. After all, I've entrapped the man twice now. Yes, the deeply malicious bookworm has a deeply malicious moustache.
Oh dear, I'm not sure about that. A deeply misfortunate mustache, maybe. Perhaps.
That too, the moustache is indeed misfortunate, but only because it is malicious. Only because it is malicious.
Oh, what a wonderful reasoning, Mr. Sholmes. You've won me over yet again.
Isn't it crazy that you guys have color print? I can't believe there's never been a comment about that, unless I missed dialogue. Any comments about this? No. Iris. That's incredible concentration, that is. I'm really at this.
Lord Barrack Van Sykes. Yes, it's an interesting sobriquet.
Sobriquet.
Sobriquet. Lord Barrack Van Sykes. Yes, it's an interesting sobriquet he has, isn't it? The Reaper of the Bailey.
Does this, like, mean a nickname or something? Imagine that. I looked up the pronunciation, but didn't fucking check the meaning. Probably means nickname. Or something close to it. Title. Common colloquial title.
Once the legendary prosecutor has fought for someone's conviction, that person is doomed. Even if he or she is found not guilty by the courts, sooner or later the hapless will vanish from the capital.
But vanish how exactly?
By falling under a passing carriage, or drowning in the Thames, or succumbing to a sudden fever, or, quite out of the blue, being set upon by a highwayman. There are numerous routes to one's final terminus, my dear fellow.
It all seems a little far-fetched, really.
Well, on the bright side, Mr. Moustache is fighting fit, for the time being at least.
That's not overly reassuring.
Let us engage. Yes.
If the rumors are true, though, the obvious conclusion would surely be that those acquitted are, well, by Lord Van Zyg's own hand.
As it happens, Miss Susato, that is quite impossible.
Oh, why?
Naturally, the man very quickly came under such suspicion. However, whenever these incidents occurred, the Reaper always had a cast-iron alibi.
Somebody in government? Some lackey? Really?
And so his reign continued. But 5 years ago, he vanished from the courts, never to appear as a prosecutor again. That is, until you arrived in the country, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, so I've heard. In fact, it was at the very day I arrived, when I was thrust into that trial at the Old Bailey. He was expecting to face Kazuma then? That bitter fight to the death coincided with the Reaper's resurrection, and really did end bitterly indeed.
And here you are, facing Mr. Reaper again.
Poor Rono. I don't know if you're just incredibly unlucky.
Why has she gone Australia?
Australian?
That's not even... What the fuck was that voice that I just did? Oh,
Poor Rono. I don't know if you're just incredibly unlucky. Or incredibly unlikable.
I think it goes deeper than just me. I sense a general loathing of all Japanese people. So, what is that indescribably foul smell?
Ah, well, most probably this, I would say.
What is that?
My dear fellow, it is of course my latest invention. A chemical test that can identify whether or not a tea is genuine at the drop of some tea.
Oh my!
There are some unscrupulous sorts manning the stalls along some of London's less frequented streets. They regularly sell what purports to be high-quality tea, but it is in fact merely dyed leaves of drab flavor.
Well, that's suddenly unsavory behavior.
So, when one is presented with what appears to be black tea, one must be careful. Iris.
At the ready, Hurley.
Let us add a drop of my chemical to this cup of tea here to see what happens. Poof!
It's turned completely black.
And what a foul odor it's giving off.
Indeed, the blacker the tea becomes, and the more foul the odor, the better the tea is. It would appear that this cup was a particularly fine Darjeeling.
That's very ingenious. But what do you do with that black liquid now?
Why, dispose of it naturally. Surely you wouldn't like to drink it, would you?
There does seem to be a rather obvious problem with your new invention, Mr. Sholmes.
I beg your pardon, my dear madam, but have you ever heard of an aliquot? You've simply taken aliquot of the tea. Hence why this chemical test is merely a test, my dear madam.
Right.
Point is, we are entering a new era of science, in a world of criminal investigation also.
Yes, forensic science. Oh, these are such exciting times.
I regularly engage in this scientific experimentation, along my unofficial consulting detective work. The Aleks Sholmes' method will be the foundation upon which modern investigative technique is based. This little tea indicant was a happy byproduct of my ongoing forensic research science. There, I know how to speak English, like that. This little tea indicant was a happy byproduct of my ongoing forensic science research.
Forensic science? I suppose I should find out more about that. With Mr. Natsume, who I'm currently defending, being Japanese as well as Miss Susato and myself, I felt it even more keenly in court today. For some reason, Lord Van Zyke seems to have an inherent disdain of the Japanese.
Indeed, it is an interesting observation.
Do you know something about it? Do you, Mr. Sholmes?
Shin. It was about 10 years ago that Baruch Van Zykes chose to enter the legal profession. However, before that time, the young man's closest companion hailed from the Empire of Japan.
No!
What the?
Tell us more, Mr. Sholmes. What happened?
What's happened?
I believe I've made it clear before. I'm unable to tell you anything about the affair.
The Hound of the Baskervilles?
Oh, but...
No, that case wasn't yet.
The veil will be lifted on the events of the past in due course. I have no doubt. For now, however, it is Mr. Moustache who is most deserving of your attention, I believe.
So, your T-test, is that an example of forensic science?
Indeed it is. An essential tool in cases that hinge on the knowledge of whether some tea is of high or inferior quality.
Not a huge number of cases, then.
Perhaps a more practical example is required. Fingerprints, not yet accepted in our courts as evidence, I might add. Really, we are dragging our heels here.
I hadn't even heard of them until recently.
Which is partly why I undertake research in this field myself, of course.
Does that mean you're studying fingerprints, Mr. Sholmes?
There are others in the field already, and I abhor the company of inferior minds. No, what I am researching is skin prints.
Skin prints?
A nomenclature of my own design, as is this chemical agent that makes it possible. It instantly reveals objects by whichever person is under investigation.
Brilliant, Mr. Sholmes.
As long as it doesn't turn everything completely odorous and black.
I assure you, my dear fellow, you will witness my forensic talents in action very soon indeed.
Well, I think we should go back to the scene and see if we can uncover any new clues.
That's the spirit, Rono. See you later.
Yes, until later.
No, Mr. Sholmes, we were thinking you'd come with us.
You were?
Yes, of course. You just said so a moment ago. You said you'd witness your forensic talents in action.
Ah, yes, I do recall saying something along those lines. But you go on ahead. I shall be sure to follow you later. In all likelihood. Probably. Maybe. Well, I might.
Your commitment astounds me.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes. We'll eagerly await your arrival. Bye-bye, Rono. Bye, Susie.
Oh, hello. 22nd of February, local prison, cell 9.
Oh, Mr. Natsume is back.
So he is. Mr. Natsume, hello.
Oi, I'm a cat.
Sorry? Sorry?
I don't know who Mr. Natsume is, or Herlock Sholmes. I don't know about courts or trials or Old Baileys. I'm a cat. That's what I am. Oh, just a cat.
Of course, in the Japanese version, it would have been Wagahai wa Neko de Aro.
Mr. Naruhodo, he's trying to escape from reality.
Trying to? He already has, completely. So, what is your name then?
As yet, I have no name. Mr. Naruhodo, he hasn't fully thought out his new identity yet. Maybe it's not too late to bring him back to reality.
Do you think you could open your eyes for us, Mr. Natsume?
I am not a cat. It worked. He's back in the real world. Well, what's going to become of me? No! Don't answer that. It's obvious. My accursed soul is never going to escape this accursed fate. Mr. Natsume, no! This morning's proceedings in court proved that there's hope. Yes, locum student, Mr. Narrowed Esquire was brilliant, but... The Reaper is omnipresent, in court, in my lodgings. Here, there, everywhere.
What's he looking straight at me for? I think perhaps there are some things we should discuss.
Oh, yes, we must.
See you, loser. Bye-bye.
Fooled ya. Gotcha. Good one, eh? What do you suppose is happening? It sounds like some sort of disturbance.
Yes, I hear angry voices. Where's her bowl?
Be not angry, O ample lady. Verily, thou art mistaken. I'm from Birmingham. Mistaken my foot. You were looking at my painting. eye of man hath not heard, the ear of man hath not seen. 'Twas foul indeed, the poison that that moustached villain gaveth me. Forgive me, lady. I wish you died from that poison. God a mercy, ample lady, that but thou seest, I have figure still. Behold my Shamspear dance. This looks rather ominous, doesn't it? Ah, lo, 'tis the lawyer from the land, whence riseth the sun from the land. Ah, lo, 'tis the lawyer from the land, whence riseth the sun. How now?
What are you doing here, Mr. Shamspear?
Mary, I do believe I'm returned to another ward. I'm from Birmingham. I was looking. That's what he was doing. Looking at my terrible work. Eastern fellow, so darky clad. Faith, thy work in court this morning was wonderful. I do applaud thee.
Oh, well, thank you. I did figure out your, like, pretty cool, like, scam, dude. Like, it was a pretty cool scam, wasn't it, man? Hey, I'm cool, right? I understand you. You can talk to me and, like, tell me what actually happened, can't you? Yeah?
But that doesn't mean things will go so wonderfully for you tomorrow, does it? My plastic saber, my plastic everything, my plastic face, and non-exude, I don't know Shakespearean, fuck me, dude. Exeunt.
They go out. A word used in the text of plays to denote that point in the action at which two or more actors leave the stage. Oh, they exit. Exeunt. Ah.
That doesn't mean things will go so wonderfully for you tomorrow, does it? Anon, exeunt.
Mr. Shamspear might technically be the victim in this case, but there's definitely a lot more to it than that. It's very hard to pin the man down.
I'm so sorry. I'm such an awful person.
Ah, Miss Green, is everything all right?
Oh yes, I mean, don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. They're about to discharge me, so I must get ready to leave now.
Oh, I see.
We're delighted that you'll soon be well enough to go home, Miss Green. Oh dear, you're too kind. I don't deserve it.
Where's your bottle? Your bottle is going to fall, Miss Green. Where is it? Show me your bottle, right now. I demand it. I must see your bottle and examine it. Yeah, must be here, surely. Dun 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 dun. So, are you feeling more like yourself today, Miss Green?
I am, thank you. I mean, people do recover from ordeals like this, don't they? Even people like me.
Well, yes, it really was an ordeal, wasn't it? That key around her neck. Could it possibly be the thing that opens the gas meter? That seems way too convenient.
As far as I was concerned, I was just walking along in the snow one evening, minding my own business. And then, completely out of the blue, I was struck in the back by a knife and collapsed unconscious for days. Of course, when I finally woke up again yesterday, the whole business had been cleared up already.
That voice is a lot of fun, actually. I'm so bad at it, but I like doing it.
What a terrible week it's been for you. Oh no, I'm sure I'm very lucky, really. I look back on this fondly.
Really?
Anyway, I must be getting on with things. I must be getting my things together now, so that I'm ready to be discharged.
Oh yes, of course. Sorry to take up your time when you're obviously busy. Where's the bottle? It's green. I need to examine your bottle before it falls. The photo of this man hasn't come up yet. I wonder who he could be. I have no clue.
My.
One would think that he's probably related because he has art of his face in the game drawn by the artist of this game. Da, 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 da. No, I didn't want to come here yet. I wanted to come here last. It's the Natsume's lodgings, ground floor.
Fish and chips, fish and chips. Oh, fish and chips.
Oh, hello again, Inspector Gregson.
What are you doing here?
Well, we were hoping to have another look around, actually.
The lawyer representing the defendant has a right to examine the scene, as I'm sure you're aware.
We put the bricks back, by the way.
Dun 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 dun. Get ready for the meme bit, the cheeky bit. I don't know if I mentioned this previously, but I think that bit shares a motif with Strong Heart's theme. Maybe it's like a government motif or something, I don't know. Now I'm starting to talk with the Birmingham me voice, with the weird like raising of the tone at random points in the sentence. I can't stop it now. I'm stuck in the pattern. It's very light, but I can't help it. Goodness me. Please never make me do that voice for somebody.
Yeah, I know the score.
Oh, yes, one other thing. There's soap on the ledge outside the window. Did you find it? With the tea in it?
Yeah, we found it alright, and there was a small amount of tea in it, as you said.
I knew it! I'm a fucking genius!
It's with the identification section at the yard now. They're looking into it. The results should be available later today.
That's wonderful news, thank you.
Pretty impressive performance in court this morning.
I knew you would say that, sir.
Pretty impressive performance in court this morning.
Sorry?
Nothing, forget it. Just make sure you don't disturb anything in it.
Why is it investigation music outside? Last time it was the London music.
The London. London. Welcome to London.
I wonder if Mr. Garrett would be called as a witness. Kind of has a lot of information, so it would be appropriate.
Mr. Garrett appears to be out. He's probably at the yard talking to the police.
Oh well. I suppose we'll just have to come back again later. New dialogue. He is not here, so everything's new. We probably shouldn't poke around in here whilst Mr. Garrett is out. We probably shouldn't poke around in here while Mr. We probably for every single thing. Are you kidding me? I wanted dialogue, and you give me nothing, Mr. Takumi. Why? I want to talk my face off all day long and all night long. I want to test something with the way the music works. Yeah, okay. At least for those bits where it's like temporary. They don't pause the music, they just mute it. Interesting. When I was making my little sound engine for my A-level project, I was thinking about that sort of thing. How do they do that? I've already done this one, fuck. You have something to say about this. This is relevant to you because one is in your room in your lodgings. I am wondering whether you also steal gas from the company, because that would explain how they are coming to your room and investigating what you are doing, creeping you out in the middle of the night. In my whole life, have I ever been so moved as I was today? No! Of course, if I cast my mind back, there were perhaps one or two other occasions that moved me more. But if I just block those out, then today, being in that courtroom it was the most moving experience of my life. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. You're too kind.
Scotland Yard found the remaining tea just as we deduced and are analysing it as we speak.
There's nothing wrong with that tea. They won't find a drop of poison in it. That's a solemn, sworn, Soseki certainty.
Unless they fake the results or some nonsense like that. Tell me, did you drink the tea at the same time that night?
Oh yes, most definitely. Remember, drink tea while it's hot.
Why does his cup have a rim then?
We both poured it down our throats like it was a hot bath for our bellies.
And at that time, you were both completely fine.
Maybe one cup got washed, as shown by the fact that he and Mr. Shakespeare then engaged in Romeo and Juliet match. I suppose the focus of tomorrow's proceedings will be how the poison was taken by the victim then. Planning ahead! Wow, an Ace Attorney protagonist who actually thinks ahead. Amazing!
That rotten Shakespeare, what have I ever done to him?
You don't recall him taking issue with you over anything you've done recently. We're gonna have to figure out why he went out that day. It must be relevant.
I've been holed up in my room, immersed in books. I don't recall anything at all.
Right.
But what I don't understand is why you didn't let me know sooner.
Let you know what, Mr. Natsume?
About the soap, of course. What else?
Oh dear. Are you struggling with such a meager stipend?
Of course I am, if I had money. I wouldn't have chosen to live in an accursed existence in such accursed lodgings.
Oh yes, you said it's because the place is cursed and it's so cheap, didn't you?
Exactly, especially the room that I rent. That's the spirit of the capital offender who lived in there, still haunts the place, and it's trying to kill me.
Capital offender?
Might I ask, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, that the next time you visit me, you bring scores of super soft soaps?
Fuck me, why did I click this? Ah. I want the achievement. Fine, I'll do my stuff in here. Got a cool pose. And so is he. Well, maybe not so cool, maybe isn't the right word. Candle. I liked my original idea of melting a medallion, but I guess this makes more sense. If you ran out of change, you wouldn't even have any light, let alone the heat. For the needy, London's winters can be very harsh.
That's true, but if you think about it, even the wealthy would find themselves freezing if they ran out of small change.
London's winters can be very harsh for the forgetful too, then. Frankly, I'm starting to wonder if Susato-san and I are going to make it to spring.
That's true. We don't even have a meter at Baker Street, let alone a gas stove.
Look at how dark the stain on the floor is underneath the meter here.
Yes, from all the water dripping out after the ice coins melted, as you established in court this morning.
A very large and obvious stain, isn't it?
Mr. Shamspeare must have used an awful lot of ice coins, I suppose.
It was an ingenious idea, I'll give him that. And it was ingenious of me to figure it out, clearly.
No one conceited Naruhodo, that would be funny.
A bit of letter on the floor.
I heard something funny. Oh well.
Ah, the ill-fated teacups from which the two men drank on the ill-fated night.
During their heated literary debate, yes.
Who's stronger, Romeo or Juliet? It sounds like it was quite a discussion.
Now I think of it, I'm sure that the two lovers in the play ended their lives with poison.
Good one.
That's fiction, Mr. Sato. Let's hope it stays that way.
Well, I mean, even if it didn't stay as fiction, if we're going Danganronpa V3 style on it, then it doesn't matter that it's staying fiction when we consider that this is still fiction. And I'm now going to break the fourth wall for probably the first time in Ace Attorney history. Wait, no, there's been a few, like, you excuse for an 8-bit attorney, but, like, come on. There's never been a proper fourth wall break, for good reason. The sun never shines in this room, thanks to that depressing bricked-up window.
Yet, with enough determination, you can always remove the bricks to set some soap outside, can't you?
That sounds like a very wise life lesson, Mr. Sato.
Only if you plan to follow a life of crime, Mr. Naruhodo. So it turns out that Mr. Shamspeare wasn't eating the soap at all.
That's right. The mystery of why he had it on the plate while holding a fork in his hand is solved. Why?
Yes, to prize his latest ice coin out of its mold.
I'm not convinced. He didn't break them all the time.
And in the process, he accidentally broke the bar of soap in two.
It certainly was hard to imagine, let alone deduce. It seems very odd. And where's the other bit of soap gone in his hat? Is that going to be like critical evidence now? Now, do I go with Old Faithful? Looks right, looks left, looks right, looks left. Okay, fine.
Are you looking for new clues, Inspector?
Oh, on Lord Van Sykes' orders, yeah. Don't come back till you've got something for me, he says. Tch.
Oh dear, poor you.
Well, you're not going to find anything because he's innocent.
Yeah, poor me, because we've already searched every bleeding nook and cranny of this place. I don't know what he expects, to be honest. Thank goodness for warm chips is all I can say.
Well, at least he's honest. I'm wearing the wrong glasses. I'm wearing my old glasses. I have to be in style for my YouTube stream. Of course, you know this is highly professional. Oh my! Actually, I can actually see much clearer out of these. They aren't scratched or boogery. God, the world is so much clearer. Mr. Sholmes, what are you up to over there?
What a question indeed! Was it not your good self who asked me to attend the scene? Oi! What are you doing here, Sholmes? What are you up to over there? What are you doing over here? Dear me, one's a great detective. One is always under scrutiny, it seems.
Is now the time, Mr. Sholmes? Are you about to show us your forensic talents in action as you promised?
With the greatest pleasure, my dear madam.
New music? What's all this?
All this is precisely what you requested, Mr. Naruhodo. Aleks Sholmes is sensational. Skin print seeker gun.
More music from the first game.
Sensational skin print seeker gun. Moments ago, I took a sample from the teacup that was used by the victim.
A sample from Mr. Shamsby's cup. It might have actually been Mr. Natsume's cup. We never know.
Each individual leaves microscopic secretions on everything he or she touches. A sample of those secretions is all I need to produce this, a refined indicator solution. By liberally spraying the room with this chemical, everything the victim touched is instantly revealed with the aid of these goggles. Here, try them on. There, now, spray the chemical indicator about and all will be revealed.
Spray? How do I do that exactly?
A little press of space in the area you're interested in is all that's required. Like this. Psst.
Ah, what's that? What is that stuff? It's like fog. Okay, it must be the victims. Why would he touch a random hat and his, like, costumes and shit? It's like fog.
A suspension of the chemical indicator in a pressurized gas. It's the most efficient way to cover a large area. It's called a Sholmesosol, not an aerosol, because I'm Mr. Sholmes, and obviously it has to be named after me, in the most logical way possible. That was another invention I discovered incidentally whilst I was developing this idea.
As you do.
Go ahead, try it, my dear fellow. We may learn something interesting about the victim's movements on the night in question.
Well, there's nothing to lose, I suppose. Let's explore. What happens if I use up all of your chemical? Okay, so if you do it in the middle of nowhere, it lets you spam it, but if you uncover something new, it does it slowly. Or something like this. You didn't touch the letter. That's very weird. Oh, look at all this here. And the floorboard is loose. We have discovered the secrets.
My dear fellow. Ah, yes, interesting. A multitude of the victim's handprints.
Why are there so many of them on the floor in this one spot?
Oh, perhaps he just had a bad fall here.
There's nothing obvious that he would have tripped over, though, is there? I wonder. Personally, I often stumble when there is nothing obvious to trip over.
I think that's something only a great detective would do, Mr. Sholmes.
Well, this is quite a puzzle. Handprints all over the floor.
Yes, there's no obvious explanation, except like the very obvious one. Oh, look at this here. Also, programming mistake. When Sholmes sprayed here to demonstrate, it showed the graphical effect up there. Oh, yeah. Because you would have had to roll out the carpet. That's very clever. I like how they put this scene together. Whoa. That was a lot in one spray. He touched both mugs. Very interesting. What am I missing? Oh, the bricks. Look, there are dozens of handprints here. Now that is curious. Pushing the wall. Maybe he was being attacked? Maybe it's to take the painting down? Why else do you touch a wall? Maybe to force something back? Like, if you need to use your foot to force something back, you might do it. Leaning on a wall. Why else do you lean on a wall? Maybe like to peer around the brick corner or something? Maybe just because he was bored?
So there are, a great many indeed, so much so that it's hard to make out any one individual print, in fact.
Brr, it sends a chill down my spine.
Perhaps he was leaning against the wall while he admired this picture.
Or there's like a safe behind there.
Unlikely, I would say. It's a rather dull scene after all. And without wishing to state the obvious, you wouldn't generally admire a picture from such close quarters,
Oh.
Unlikely, I would say.
Oh. Oh my god. I screwed this up so badly. Perhaps he was leaning against the wall while he admired this picture.
Unlikely, I would say. It was a rather dull scene after all.
And without wishing to state the obvious, you wouldn't generally admire a picture from such close quarters, I feel.
Oh, very true, Mr. Sato. A bit of a mystery then. Well, we sprayed Mr. Sholmes' amazing skin print indicator all over this room, didn't we? It showed more on the pink mug, right? Like on the handle of the pink mug, there was more stuff. So I guess if he was holding it like this. Whereas the other one had some on the side. It was almost as if he knocked it. Well, we sprayed Mr. Sholmes' amazing skin print indicator all over the room, didn't we?
We did, but there are two places in particular that are of interest, I would say. The handprints on the floor there, and on the wall by the picture, you mean? Yes, and I think the floor warrants closer investigation. I won't be a moment. Ah!
What is it, Mr. Sato?
Look here, Mr. Naruto. One of the floorboards has popped out.
One of the... You mean... It's a secret hiding place? A new solution to the locker room mystery is prepared. Remember Kyoko Kirigiri and Danganronpa 1 talking about the 4 solutions to locker room mysteries? 1, you lock the door in using some secret mechanism. Number 2, you find an secret escape. Number 3, you stay in hiding until no one is looking. And number 4... Suicide? I can't remember. There was a legitimate 4th one, but I can't remember. Oh, a way to kill from outside the room. Like a trap. Yeah. It's a secret hiding place.
Excellent work, Miss Susato. So, what do we have in there? Boy, what are you lot doing?
Inspector Gregson.
Stand aside right this minute. It's my job to investigate here. There. No need, Inspector. You continue to dig into your portion of chips whilst we dig around on the under the floor here.
The fish looks different from this angle.
Your fancy talk's putting me off my food anyway, Soames. A new bit of evidence is exactly what I need.
Wow, a secret hiding place under the floor. What a find. It's not a hiding place you could make use of in Japan. I don't think it could lift a straw tatami mat. I don't think I could lift a straw tatami mat. Oh, right. No, I know, but I never expected one of these wooden floorboards to move either. It's got me wondering about the wall over there, too. Aren't you curious? Oh! Yeah, let's not tell Gregson about this one. I'll investigate at once. Hello. There is nothing behind the picture, sadly. Only the wall.
How disappointing.
But then, how do you explain the handprints? I really can't think why anyone would have been touching the wall over there in one place like that.
There you are, a print for you.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, thank you very much. His invention can make prints too. Now then, I wonder if Inspector Gregson has found anything under the floor there.
I'm desperate to know.
So am I. Well, guess what, guys? I'm not going to grant your wish. Alright, we're done here. Time to move. Does Garrett the baton? No. Is her bottle falling? No. Is there a new thing on the blackboard? New dialogue? No, new dialogue. Fuck. Is there anybody outside? Is there anybody... any new dialogue? Dun, 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 dun. Do you know anything about these prints? I guess not. Guess he didn't see him hands on the wall like. What do you think about the new evidence, Susato? Nothing? Fine. We'll play the game. Okay, how's this for an idea? There's either something behind here or under here. So, like, let's say you have to grip or something. Like, when you go down the hole here, you have to, like, put your hands there or something. I don't know. I'd love to know if there's anything hidden underneath that floorboard there.
Allow me to ask Gregson now. After all, we're well acquainted. Inspector Gregson, really, it's been too long. What is it, Soames? I thought perhaps you might show me what you found there, seeing as we're such good friends. We're not friends. No, I suppose not. A dismal failure.
Yes, I heard. Ugh, I'd kill to know what was under that floorboard. Is he gonna push us out of it?
All right then, fair's fair.
What?
You did discover the hiding place after all. I suppose I should at least fill you in.
Really, Inspector? Thank you.
Do it quickly, my dear fellow. If there's one thing I know about this man, it's that he blows with the wind, as fickle as the weather. Oi, stop making me out to be some kind of nut. There were 3 items under the floor there. A newspaper clipping, a photographic print, and a tin box. Now, what do you want to know?
Dun, 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 dun.
Now this tin box looks interesting, doesn't it? Might I suggest, Inspector, that you open it?
What the hell was that noise? Dun, 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 dun.
Might I suggest, Inspector, that you open it? If you were to find something inside that reveals the truth behind this case, I wouldn't be in the least surprised. Yeah, funnily enough, I've already had a look. Funnily enough, I've already had a look. It's completely empty. What? Shamspeare, give us a clue, man.
You didn't even have the chance to utter a word, Mr. Naruhodo. But anyway, at least we found out what's inside the box. Yes, thin air. It's empty, rather like how I feel inside. Is there nothing more to this box then? I wonder. Is there a gas stored inside it that used to contain the poison? Does he keep his loose change there? Does he hide his loose change there? Does he... I don't know, did he... I haven't got a clue, really. Liquid?
So, this is the photograph I found. Looks reasonably recent to me. Yes, it would appear to have been taken on the street in front of the house here.
And the gentleman on the left is Mr. Garrett, the landlord, of course.
But who's the young man on the right? Mr. Caradip's son, perhaps?
Perhaps. You can take this print if you like.
Really? You sure?
We can presume, therefore, the Yard already knows the identity of the young fellow, that is.
Ah, is that true?
Well, it's too bad if we do. Unfortunately for you lot, leaking information isn't one of my pastimes, unlike a certain detective in the future. You know? Pal? My dear Inspector, if I may be so bold as to point something out. Pastimes are for one's leisure, but this is for work. All the more reason I'm not telling you. A dismal failure.
Yes, I heard.
My boonswaggery.
What's the word? Not boonswaggery.
Swarm-boggling. Swoon-boggling. I don't know what the word is. Bushwhackling. I'm not much of a boondoggler myself.
I wonder why a photograph like this was hidden under the floor. I mean, Mr. Shamspeare himself isn't in it.
Photographic prints are still rare treasures in the East End. I imagine Mr. Garridon was rather delighted to have been immortalised. He probably made a proud present of it. Looks like this was cut out of the paper about 3 months ago. It's about a convict who got sick and died while he was serving time up in Manchester. Am I going to have to come up with a Manchester voice? Blurty out. Fish and chips, fish and chips, fish and chips, fish and chips. Oh, bloody hell, fish and chips, fish and chips.
How terrible.
My Gregson voice has fallen off a bit, I think. Oh, mate, it made the headlines down here in London as well. The bloke had been sentenced to death, you see, but nature got him first.
Oh my goodness! He'd committed a capital offense.
And by the name of Selden. Nasty piece of work into burglaries and murder. I say the all he knocked off was worth about £1,000.
A hoard of treasure, you mean?
Jewellery and the like, but he hidden it somewhere, and no one knows where, and now he's dead. Well, there was a bit in the news article, apparently he hid it in a tin box somewhere. No idea where.
I figured it out. I figured it out. I figured it out, dude. Selden used to live in One Road. That is enough reason for the authorities to want to keep like the closest eye ever on this address and like really care about it and like desperately search for this missing £1,000 jewel or whatever. It was under that floorboard, so some government guy came in, stole the jewel, or like extorted Shamspeare for the jewel, like threatened him he has to keep quiet or something, and just took the jewel. That's why there's nothing in that box, or something like that.
The papers loved it, of course. £1,000 lost en route to hell, or some such was the headline. Does it not strike you, though? Why, such an article would be so carefully ensconced under the floor. I suppose now you mention it, it does seem a bit odd. Perhaps I'll go over the paperwork we've got on Selden and not press the spacebar too soon. Fucking hell.
Yeah, okay.
Perhaps I'll go over the paperwork we've got on Selden back at the yard and see if I can turn anything up, and then not tell ya. Because it's going to turn out to be critical. Or I'll be sworn to silence.
Meow.
Da, 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 da.
Oh, look! It's that lovely little kitty cat. What was his name?
It's Mr. Natsume's, isn't it? I don't think we've ever asked him, actually. Why don't we call it, Wagahai? You know, like Mr. Natsume refers to himself in Japanese. I wonder how he got in here. Clever cat.
Oh, wonderful! Well then, Wakahai, here's something delicious I bought for you from the cat's meat man. Meow.
This is the best scene.
Meow. He couldn't be happier now, look.
I thought Gregson had gone. I just hope we can bring some happiness to his owner too. Or maybe that's like a bug. Like they wanted it to be covered by Susato, but the fade in. Yeah. Oh, or not.
Meow.
Some of them are on the picture. There's no like grip mark on the picture. Maybe he'd been feeling to turn the lamp on desperately. Like he's dying and it's fucking dark and he's scrambling for the light to figure out who the killer is. That's possible. There is little bits of handprint here, and here's, I guess, is the handle, but... There's the hint to any players who hadn't realised it yet to go and speak to Olive Green about it. Condemned criminal dies of natural causes in prison. Natural causes. Epstein didn't kill himself. Manchester Strangeways Prison announced the death of convicted murderer and burglar Selden. This could be a lie. Maybe that's going to be the controversy. Selden. Selden. I can't notice any name pun. In the early hours of the morning, he had been suffering with fever at the end of October. Alerted by the shouts of his fellow cellmate, medical staff arrived to find him already dead, before his capital punishment could be carried out. I mean, we have to talk to the cat, but that can wait. I want to go and talk to Natsume and Garideb, as well as Miss Green. Oh, I already done this one.
What's this?
It's a newspaper cutting that we found in Mr. Shamspeare's room. Oh yeah, Selden is the person who used to live there, right?
Oh, so he knew, did he?
Sorry?
About this man, Selden. A convicted killer and the evil spirit behind the curse that afflicts my lodgings.
What? What?
He's already taken one young man's life, and now he's trying to take the life of another, a miserable, moustached, much maligned Japanese man.
Mr. Natsume, if you know something, please, you must tell us. Tell us everything you can about this evil spirit. Okay, I just noticed the bug that confused me earlier. You can press the left and right buttons after clicking present. Was a cheeky little meow by guy. Is that it? Okay.
Oh, but he's so adorable. I could sit and watch him forever.
I think he may not appreciate that after a while. We have an investigation to get back to. What's behind here? Behind here? Is there a secret werebagger? Hi. Is there a dead body or something that he was going after? I have no clue. Let's get out of here and speak to Natsume-san. But no, you don't say that. You say Soseki-san. I'm stupid, dude. I'm so stupid. They've been saying Soseki-san the whole fucking game. I'm brain dead, dude. The truth is, I didn't know the details myself until very recently. That Selden man was arrested about a year ago now. And at the time, he was hiding out in lodgings at Mr. Garridup's house.
What? He lived where you do now?
That's right, yes. Exactly where I live now. In my very room.
Oh my! Your room was previously occupied by a criminal found guilty of a capital offense.
But before his sentence could be carried out, he died in prison. That was 3 months ago now. And that's when it started. The curse.
What really is this curse you keep mentioning, Mr. Natsume?
It's already caused one death. A few months later, after the criminal passed away in prison. The man died in the room. The man who rented it after Selden, in fact.
They're taking people out once they discover the truth.
The poor lodger. He was found dead in mysterious circumstances. The room was locked from the inside.
Okay. It is all coming together. The murderer is a member of some secret service, or maybe the owner of the jewelry company, or somebody with an interest in the jewel, and he's been killing residents of that place as they find out the truth about something to do with Selden, or where he hid his jewel or something.
He was found dead in mysterious circumstances. The room was locked from the inside.
Locked from the inside. Exactly like the case we're dealing with now. Miss Olive Green has a key round her neck. Dude. Olive Green has a key round her neck. I think the hint is that this killer had the key to the room. He has copies of the keys to the room. Maybe he's a locksmith? So that's the convict's curse, is it?
Yes, well, that was the start of it.
Do you have any idea how the lodger before you passed away, Mr. Natsume? Or is Mr. Garrett the secret agent? That would be insane.
The official cause of death was asphyxia. When they discovered the body, the room was full of gas.
Gas? Poison gas?
I only found that out after I'd signed the lease. When Mr. Garrett came to tell me later, I couldn't stop myself trembling. In fact, if I'd known beforehand, I'd probably have been too scared to take the room. Landlord's lease, luckily legal.
Lucky for Mr. Garrett, maybe. Not so lucky for poor Mr. Natsume. Now you believe this curse is affecting you.
It is. At first, I just felt as though I was being watched all the time.
Then you talked about having nightmares, didn't you?
They had to trying to take me with them. They could come for me and try to suffocate me. Just when I'm struggling to breathe, I wake up and the room is as cold as ice.
The gas? Oh my god! I just figured it out ahead of time. I think I've got it. I think I've cracked the case. I think I've cracked the case. Cold as ice makes me think it's to do with the gas, right? Because the gas heats the room. Oh my god. It's the owner of the gas company, Mr. Altamont. He is the killer. He knows something about Selden and the operation of stealing the jewel and needs to keep some secret or has some interest in it, right? Whatever his motive is. And the way he kills is to change out the gas for poison gas. And so, when they wake up in the morning, because there was no gas, everything's cold as ice. That must be it. They swap out the gas for poison gas. Strike 9. But it was administered, ingested. Maybe the... no. That's one problem. That was one huge problem. Strike 9. Ingestion. Can Strike 9 be inhaled? Strike 9 is a toxic, colourless, bitter alkaloid. Used as pesticide. Strike 9, when inhaled, swallowed, or absorbed through the eyes or mouth, causes poisoning which results in muscular convulsions and eventually death through asphyxia. I fucking cracked the case, dude. Thank you, Wikipedia. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh my god. Imagine that. This is probably the most Gigabrain deduction. This has got to be the most Gigabrain deduction in Ace Attorney history. This has got to be the most... Holy shit. Holy shit. The person who wrote this report didn't know it was ingested. They assumed it was ingested because they believed it was in the tea. It was inhaled. It was inhaled. And Mr. Garrett talks of the gas lamps flickering. I don't know how that's linked, because that's very relevant. That's very relevant. The gas lamps flicker, and they do weird things. I really like this theory. This theory seems very solid. The time of death can be faked. Ingestion of a small quantity. It says ingestion though. This isn't a proper autopsy, right? Oh, it is a medical. Oh, right. It doesn't. Of course, it's not an autopsy. He's not dead. Okay, this is as good as an autopsy. A police cover-up. The theory is too perfect to be true. It's too perfect to be true. To be false, even. Who knows at this point? I'm really, really like drawn to this idea now. And if it's wrong, it's going to lead me astray in the trial, and I'm going to keep getting shit wrong because I will like want to force it to be right, but it won't be. When the room is as cold as ice.
But why is your room so cold?
London winters are too cold to bear without any heating on overnight. But for some reason, even though I light up the stove before I climb into bed at night, the pilot light always goes out and the room fills with gas.
But that's terrible. That's exactly the same situation as what led to the previous occupant's death. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm thinking I might be wrong now. Because they're really putting this on thick. I feel like I'm meant to think what I'm thinking now because they're putting it on thick. Right? They've said the word gas like 5 times. They've talked about the light going out. I think the reason for the handprints is because he was clawing to turn off something. And then there's what's happened to Mr. Shamspeare last night, when he was mysteriously poisoned. There's clearly more to that incident than can be explained by a curse, though. Whatever can be the cause of all these strange happenings in Mr. Garrett's rooms. The fact that the Wikipedia article says asphyxia is the final cause of death with strychnine is something that genuinely the player wouldn't know unless they looked it up, right? So I think that is fine. That piece of the puzzle, the game is not giving it to for free, but I did genuinely figure out that the previous guy died of poison gas. Well, I haven't proven it's poison gas. Could it be something else? Maybe like the gas has particulates and they land in liquids and stuff. It might even be that the poison test on the tea will come back positive because if it was poison gas, why wouldn't it get in the tea? Right? What next? Garrett is back. Mr. and Mrs. Right, you've got a lot of explaining to do. Ah, you're here now, Mr. Garrett.
Right, bally business is for me, you know. Getting out and about.
Were you at the Old Bailey by any chance?
Naturally, bally thing. Waiting my lodgings hanging in the balance and all that. Not a trial to miss.
The fate of what's already been dubbed your haunted lodgings, yes.
Of course, the place has caused quite a stir around the capital on more than one occasion already. It's the old haunted lodgings or some such.
Ugh. Ah, well, at least he knows.
Makes you wonder what the blazes is going on, don't you know?
Yes, I'm sure it does. In fact, thinking back to Mr. Natsume's other trial just 2 days ago, you were at the Old Bailey then as well, weren't you? Testifying with your wife about what happened.
Stopped off at the prison on the way home, in fact. Beastly business.
I see. Maybe he overheard our conversation.
So, what brings you to my haunted abode today, eh? What brings you to my haunted abode today, eh? Bally thing.
Where is Mr. Shones? Mr. Garrett, about this photographic print.
Oh yes, the scene. I thought the bally fellow was as dead as a doornail. Jolly well knows that he's alive, for him and the room.
The room? What do you mean?
Well, it matters, you know. When I come to let the room next time, people will ask. And there's a world of difference between a room where someone died and a room where someone nearly died.
They sound awfully similar to me.
Tell me about the gas meter.
Oh, an ultimate gas meter, yes. Bally thing. Decent fireplace in here, of course, so no need for a gas stove. But there's nothing better than a gas lamp for reading in bed, eh?
Actually, Mr. Natsume mentioned that the gas supply from his room kept failing.
Oh yes, that. I had the gas company look into it. But they couldn't find a thing wrong. The chap must have been imagining things.
That's a fucking lie. I
I don't think he was imagining it. The poor man woke up unable to breathe.
I think it was put down a ghost or some at work or some such in the end. Place must be haunted. Barley place.
Okay. Gyarados is in on it. We're gonna have to call him to the stand, break him down in the trial. That's our way in. That is our way in. Mr. Gyarados, could I ask you to look at this photograph? Is that your son who's with you there?
No, not at all. He was a lodger here once. Duncan Ross was his name. Bully person. Duncan Ross was his name, bully hell. Duncan Ross and...
What was her name? Olive Green. They're not like brother or sister. Duncan Ross?
a street photographer just happened to be passing, so I asked him to take a shot. Just for kicks, really. Bully thing.
Was he by any chance the lodger before Mr. Natsume?
Yes, that's right. Ah, the young gentleman who died in the room in mysterious circumstances. Just what Mr. Moustache was waiting for, one might say. Yes, young Duncan lived in the room at the top of the first flight of stairs before the Japanese chap.
Would you mind telling us a little more about him?
Some fishy fellow from the Far East and a failed actor chap of questionable character, eh? Yes, the house does seem to have become something of a magnet for rum fellows of late. Thanks to that bully curse. Bully curse. Well, I think.
The convict's curse, you mean?
Oh, heard the stories, have you? Rotten scoundrel was arrested here, and the next chap in the room goes and kills over. Then there was that woman who dropped dead just outside on the street, not to mention the actor yesterday. And mine next day. Well, can't help but get the collywobbles, can you?
When you say the woman who dropped dead outside on the street, do you mean Miss Green?
Because Miss Green, who was stabbed by the knife, and Mr. Shamspear, who was poisoned last night, both very much alive still.
Yes, well, so is that blasted convict's curse, it seems. Personally, I should be quite content with such lodgings. A bath, a toilet, a fireplace, a fascinating history. Why, it sounds like the lap of luxury.
I am not so sure about that.
Well, there's no bath or toilet included, and no fireplace either.
But you do look out for your tenants, don't you? By watching the rise and fall of the flames in your gas lamps up here.
Yes, never hurts to keep an eye on things, in case there are any mishaps or the like. Such like.
Okay, yeah, he's worried about the curse as well. He knows something's up.
I think you have had your mishap already, sir.
It's not helpful, Mr. Sholmes.
Heaven forgive me, the words just came to my lips.
I forgot to present the final piece of evidence. Why don't I have the tin box in here? That's very dodgy.
Some fishy fellow from the Far East and a failed actor chap of questionable character, eh?
There's no need for that, Mr. Garrett.
That's right, Mr. Natsume is in no way fishy.
He is undeniably peculiar, however.
Is it right that he took the vacancy immediately after the previous tenant passed away?
Yes, that's right. I asked the estate agent to find someone, and he popped up the very same day. Never come across a chap so keen for a place with a background, as it were.
I don't think it's the rumoured background that he was keen on as much as the cheap rent, actually.
So, how long has Mr. Shamspear been lodging under your roof?
That failed actor chap? Let me see. Oh, of course. Yes, it's been 3 months now. Quite sure of it.
Right. So he is in the criminal's room, Selden's room. Maybe he is Selden. That would be crazy. Only 3 months? He's quite new here too, then.
And to what do you owe your certainty in that regard, Mr. Garrett, if I might ask? Well, it was that Selden scoundrel, as it happens.
Selden? The convict, you mean? Does Selden and Shamspear have some kind of connection, then?
Yes, Duncan Ross. Young chap was attending art school. Had to work to pay for it, mind. Moved into the middle floor room about a year ago. After that, criminal Selden was arrested. Young students are always on the hunt for rooms with a history behind them.
A history of cheap rent, maybe, yes.
Yes, well, anyway, it was one morning about a month ago now. Hadn't quite worked out the old trick of watching the gas lamps to see what my lodgers were up to at the time. So sadly, I was rather tardy to discover what had happened. The smell of the gas that alerted me it was. Yes, synonymous with the smell of death. Called the police straight away, of course, and the officer kicked the door off its hinges. But once we got inside, we all bloody collapsed.
Because of the gas?
Yes, room was full of it. No air at all. Stove must have gone out while the poor chap was sleeping in his bed.
So Mr. Ross suffocated to death.
Of course, the police gave me a sound tickling off because the gas pipes were so old and all that. Can't tell you how much it set me back to have the lot replaced all over the house.
That is where things probably were being set up for today, or like a couple days ago, right? But even after you had all the work done, Mr. Natsume says the same thing. That the stove goes out at night whilst he's asleep in bed.
Well, that's the Boa curse, the convict's curse. I've done my duty as a landlord now.
Someone's feeling defensive. Yeah, he knows. He has an idea, an inkling at least. Or he's been sworn to secrecy.
That convict chap, Selden, passed away in the clink 3 months ago now, you see. Some malady or another.
Yes, we've seen the report from the newspaper at the time.
Well, it was only 3 days later that the tragedy
Oh, fucking hell, I can't read.
Well, it was only 3 days later that the tragedian showed his face. The actor fellow.
Really?
Yes, I remember it quite distinctly. Balloting.
'Tis small, this world we inhabit. Prithee, landlord, hear my request. I, the humble Shamsper, do desire to take thy room on the middle floor, offered a while for rent.
He wanted the middle room. But it already had a tenant.
Terribly sorry and whatnot, but that won't be possible. That won't be possible, Balloting. But Balloting, I'm terribly sorry and whatnot, but that won't be possible. Already have a lodger on the middle floor. Ground floor's room's vacant though.
Nothing can be made out of nothing. Let me repeat mine will unto thee.
Those girls must be muffling your ears. The room on the middle floor's taken. It's ground floor or nothing.
Very well, we have an accord.
Glad to hear it. Welcome to Briar Road.
Lo, a Shamsper dance to celebrate.
From what I heard in court, sounds like the chap was thieving gas.
Okay, here's an idea. What if it was suicide? Shamspear is the spy, or whatever the fuck it is, right? He tampered with the gas to make it into poison gas. Why did he do... Wait, 3 months ago? Yes. Because he wanted that middle room desperately because he knew that the jewels and shit would be in there. Right? He needed to get those jewels. He wants, he wants the riches. So, in order to get that room, he thought, okay, I'll kill the guy in that room, and then I'm going to ask Mr. Garrett to have that room. That's another theory. Got a few different theories. That one sounds reasonable too. And that would also explain why he's blaming Mr. Natsume. Is because he is the dodgy one, right? Like, he is the one who's after this jewelry ship and is willing to go to any length to get it.
From what I heard in court today, sounds like the chap was thieving gas. And he was 3 months in arrears with the rent too. Yes, the fellow was a bully player, all right. Thank you for your candour, Mr. Garrett. We are most grateful. By way of appreciation, allow me to say 1 or 2 words. Give me my robe, put on my crown. I have immortal longings in me.
What's happened to you?
Shakespeare, my dear fellow, one of his most famous lines. I wish to divulge my own learning of the subject, for I have a turn for literature too, you know.
Perhaps you could turn your attention to more apt lines then.
Oh, that reminds me, actually.
Yes?
About young Duncan, the night before the poor chap perished. He'd been writing a letter of affection to a young lady.
Why is it playing Ryunosuke's memory music, dude?
A love letter, you mean?
Yes, where did I put it now? Oh, here it is. Left it on my desk.
No way is it the thing that pissed off his wife. That would be full fucking circle.
If you'll excuse me, let me see now. What does it say?
Oh no, it can't be.
To my most beautiful and charming sweetheart,
Do you think that we should be reading such a personal piece of correspondence?
My dear Monsieur Sato, that is precisely why I prefaced my reading with, if you'll excuse me.
I will not excuse you, Mr. Sholmes, no.
Sadly, you didn't address it though, so I've got no means of delivering the thing. Rather sad, really.
I see. That's going to play on my mind.
But really, the identity of Mr. Ross's sweetheart has no bearing on the case. I think we should leave well alone. Leave it well alone.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I suppose you're wrong, actually.
Indeed, the intended recipient's address is missing. However, there is a name attributed to the man's most beautiful and charming sweetheart.
Mr. Sholmes, please, I've already had to chastise you about this once.
My undying love to you, my colourful darling. Olive green.
Ah,
Olive Green? A woman who was plunged into a coma after a knife plunged into her back outside this house 5 days ago. The victim of the last case Soseki-san was in court for, who regained consciousness only yesterday. Is it just chance that her name has come up now? Could it possibly be a mere coincidence?
Mr. Naruhodo, whatever can this mean?
Reading personal correspondence can have its merits, you see, Mr. Sato.
How long have I been going? What's the time? Oh my god, it's 1:13 AM. I might call it here, actually. 1 minute, let me go back to title. This is going to be right now. Who might have something that belonged to Mr. Natsume? The books? Okay, I'll do that one extra scene. Okay, bottle. Bottle, 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 bottle.
Mr. Naruhodo, I've just finished speaking with the doctor. It seems Miss Green is well enough to be discharged at last.
This is good news, but hopefully, just before she leaves...
Ah!
What is it? Bottle, 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 bottle. Miss Green! Bottle! What was that? She clearly just hid something behind her back. Was she about to drink poison? Eiffel Tower thing. Okay. I'm from Birmingham. One moment. I'll be with you in a jiffy. Examine, 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 examine.
Oh, hello everyone. What are you all doing here? The doctor said I can be discharged, so I'm just getting my things together.
Miss Green, what were you just doing?
Oh, nothing really. I was just about to take some medicine that the doctor prescribed for me. That's all.
Well, we were hoping to have another quick chat with you, if that's alright.
Oh, I don't really have anything else to tell you.
Alright, she's definitely behaving strangely. Let's see if we can't coax something out of her. This is the bottle that Miss Green was just about to drink from when we arrived.
Yes, she looked rather preoccupied, didn't she?
Perhaps it's very bitter. I can't stand bitter medicine.
I suppose that could be it.
In fact, whenever a doctor prescribes me medicine for a number of days, I always take it all at once.
Oh no!
Well, if you have to take something you don't like, it's best to get it all out of the way in one go, isn't it?
Oh dear, and I thought it was Miss Green I should be worrying about at the moment.
This is the car that Miss Green was looking so intently at before, isn't it?
Mr. Naruhodo, we shouldn't be peeking at a young woman's private effects.
Right, I should save peeking for gentlemen's effects only.
You mustn't do that either.
And maybe you, Miss Usato, shouldn't be peeking into a young man's mind either, hmm? Nice one, nice one. It's wonderful news that you're going to be discharged, Miss Green.
Oh yes, I mean, thank you. Once people are better, the hospital staff don't want them lingering and wasting space. Not people like me anyway. So I don't think I should keep anyone waiting. I probably shouldn't stand around and chat.
She certainly doesn't seem to be in the mood to talk, that's for sure. Miss Green, we were hoping to ask you about someone. Mr. Duncan Ross. You knew him, didn't you? Oh, no! I'm so sorry. The bottle of medicine fell down when she did.
Oh, Miss Green, are you alright?
Isn't it paint? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to startle you like that.
No, it's alright. I just wasn't expecting it. But how do you know about Duncan? Mr. Ross had been writing a letter when he passed away. The landlord found it in his room. It was a very personal letter to you. It was at the art school. That's where I met Duncan, a year ago now. He was working to fund his studies. He dreamt of becoming a professional artist one day. And the two of you became romantically involved. Yes, that's right. We were very much in love. We were engaged to be married, actually. That's why he decided to move into a cheaper room, to save money for the wedding.
And that's what led him to Mr. Garrett's.
Yes, he told me that he'd found the worst but cheapest room in the entire East End. And then, 1 month ago, that's when it happened. We're so terribly sorry, Miss Green. Well, it's all in the past now, I suppose. Poor Miss Green, she looks desperately sad.
I was starting to think that's just her look. But now I see that she has every reason to feel the universe is against her.
I do hope you won't be I do hope you won't think I'm being rude, but would you mind leaving me in peace now?
I have to leave the hospital soon.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We didn't mean to hold you up. Of course, we'll be on our way.
Mr. Naruhodo! Surely you are not about to leave. That's quite out of the question.
The rat died. Well, Mr. Sholmes, I didn't realize you were here.
But of course I was, my dear fellow, watching intently from the shadows as always.
Well, make your presence known next time. Mr. Sholmes, what's this about?
Something which occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Sato, is this. Why do detectives insist on such an ex post facto modus operandi? Why solve a case after it's happened? Instead of preventing a case before it happens. That is what sets a great detective apart.
What do you mean?
There is a case waiting to happen under our very noses, Mr. Naruhodo. So let us avert disaster. Let us prevent this case from ever happening, with nothing but careful observation.
All right.
All the clues you need are set before you. You need only look, and you cannot fail to see.
You can do it, Mr. Naruhodo. I know you can.
Mr. Duncan Ross. Who would ever have thought he was engaged to be married to Miss Green? Olive Ross. Bob Ross? Duncan Ross, Bob Ross? I don't get any joke.
To lose one's beloved fiancé must be painful enough.
But then Miss Green suffered that awful injury, and outside her fiancé's former lodgings too.
Fate can be very cruel sometimes.
It definitely feels though this card must be relevant. I mean, when we first arrived, Miss Green was standing with it in her hand in what only could be described as a very tense atmosphere.
Yes, it may very well be related to whatever incident Mr. Sholmes believes was about to happen here. Perhaps we should ask Miss Green about it.
That mouse seems to be dead, look. I didn't notice it there before, did you?
I think perhaps it drank the medicine that spilled out of the bottle.
She was about to overdose.
But that's the bottle that Miss Green was about to drink from when we arrived.
You don't think?
Ah, I see you've come to appreciate the true nature of this scene. That of a tragedy about to take place.
Yes, I think it's falling into place. Miss Green, the contents of the bottle you had before has spilt out on the floor. And the poor mouse that drank it has sadly died.
Oh,
I think it's clear that the bottle must have contained a powerful poison.
don't worry. I will attend to the mouse presently.
That was a bit uncalled for.
Miss Green, were you intending to go the same way as that rodent? To take your own life?
Ah!
Once we'd left, you would have put it in your lips again, wouldn't you? And taken the poison?
Oi, oi, no! Miss Green, please, please talk to us.
Dun, 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 dun.
Neither the sender's name or address appear to be written on the envelope or the card.
We know the envelope though.
It arrived by post at my home the day before the incident that put me in hospital here.
I have information regarding the death of Mr. Duncan Ross. From Shamsper. Come to the Slug and Salad on Briar Road at 5 PM on the 17th. Mr. Shamsper left at this time. He didn't realise that Miss Olive Green was in hospital. Don't tell anybody else about this letter or the meeting. It's a matter of utmost importance. Wait a minute. The 17th of this month? That's the day you were stabbed on Briar Road. Oh, okay. She must have met Mr. Sham. Why is the letters thing in his room? Why is the rest of the envelope there? There's a fair few pieces to this case that I'm still completely clueless about. And 5 PM.
Is precisely the time when the incident occurred.
It must be Shamsper. He is just mad, dude.
The Slug and Salad. Yes, a pub on the northern corner of Briar Road.
What time was the incident? Here. Here's the pub. So she must have been walking from the pub when the knife landed on her, and it was actually here, not here. Briar Road being the street that Mr. Gareth's house is on. Does this mean that...
Yes, I'm sure you've guessed. That day, when I was struck in the back by the knife, I was actually on my way to the Slug and Salad.
Weren't you walking away from it though? Because Mr. Natsume was walking behind you, right? And you were walking ahead of him, going south. Unless it means here, which doesn't make sense to be honest with you. It doesn't seem like there would be a pub there, right? Like, look, it's accommodation size. This is pub size.
Goodness!
So that's what you were doing on Briar Road that day.
I'm sorry I didn't say anything before.
"10 seconds later, and we would have arrived at a very different scene here. In all probability, we would not have enjoyed this most delightful conversation. Of course, perhaps it hasn't been quite so delightful from your perspective, Miss Green.
Actually, in a way, now that everything's out in the open, I feel like a weight has been lifted.
Tell me, how did you acquire that medicine?
I was given it in the pub. Well, with this being a hospital and all, when the doctor comes to examine me in the mornings, he always leaves the medicine cabinet open for a while. So I snuck this out when he wasn't looking.
It conspicuously lacks a label. I wonder what it contains."
I'm afraid I don't really know.
Strike 9.
But I thought if I drank it, it might just stop the pain somehow.
Oh wow.
Oh please, Miss Green, don't talk of such things.
Well, it seems clear now that it contains poison.
Yes, that poor little mouse is proof of that. Oh no! Oh, it's all my fault. What have I done?
"I shall remove this to my office, Miss Green. I take it you have no objection."
No, none. None. I think I really will have to ask you to excuse me now. I've told you everything.
Yes, I'm very sorry to have to drag up such painful memories for you.
No, it's fine. Miss Green, please promise us you won't try to do anything like that again. Yes, don't worry. Your detective friend has the bottle now anyway. And besides, I've been stabbed in the back and had a close shave with a bottle of poison, and I'm still here. I think
I fucked up her voice.
I think I'm destined to see I think I'm destined to see things through to the end. It might sound a little conceited, but well, that's how we all met. That's how all this has made me feel.
Leaving Miss Green and St. Bartholomew's behind, we made our way back to Baker Street with Mr. Sholmes. Wow, night Baker Street.
Well, it would appear we've reached the end of our investigative trail for today.
Yes, it's late.
And, Mr. Naruhodo, did you discover anything that may be of use to you in the court tomorrow, do you think?
Details about Mr. Shamsbit, Mr. Garridham's lodgings, the convict, Selden. There are many facets to this case, and we're yet to see the heart of it, if you ask me. That's my feeling anyway.
I can't help wondering about the results of the analysis.
Into Mr. Natsume's tea, you mean?
Yes, will they have found strychnine in it or not?
Well, I fear that either way, it will be hard to escape the grip of our friend, Mr. Reaper.
Oh dear.
Yes, Barak van Zykes.
But I wish you every success, of course. And though I was late to rise in the morning, tomorrow will be a new dawn. I intend to spring from my bed at a crisp hour to attend the trial.
I thought you said you had important business last time, Mr. Sholmes. You just overslept. Mr. Sholmes, you're going to come.
Indeed, whatever happens, I shall be there, assuming my eyelids cooperate in the morning.
Well, I think we've done all we can. All that's left is to remain focused and keep fighting for Mr. Natsume's cause until the very end. London, the world's most prosperous city, home to some 6 million people. Little did I know that someday in the future Tokyo would be far bigger. But away from the razzle-dazzle, down back alleys and behind bricked-up windows, the lonely lurk. So Seki-san had battled long and hard with loneliness during his many months here. And so I felt honor-bound to battle equally hard for my compatriot, to lift the curse that gripped him. As Mr. Sholmes said, tomorrow will be a new dawn for all of us. Yay. That's a great place to leave it. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. I think... Oops. Oh, it's struggling to load at least. Oh, there we go. Reading the achievement guide again. It's spoiler free at least. At the end of the trial part 3, you will be asked. Okay. Oops. Alright then. That's it for today. Good night. Bye-bye. Let's check the stream has survived. Which it has. Bye-bye.